Hello again. This video is an add-on to my dry fly tips for small rivers. There's one or two things that I didn't go into enough detail with on the last video, so I've going to cover those bits, and I've added a bit of footage from a couple of days fishing, which was, well, although there's odd interesting bits on a couple of days, they didn't run to plan at all. We'd got a lot of additional water in, sort of like micro floods that were up and down. In a second or two, the river's carrying quite a lot of sand particles. And what I'm trying to do here is to cast quite close to the edge of this little wall that was constructed when there used to be a mill at this point in the river. You see I got hold of a small brown trout. And in the past I've had some very good fish from this particular bit, but not that day. It doesn't look very windy, but believe me, it was very windy. It was quite an awkward sort of in-your-face stroke crosswind, which made it quite hard to get the cast to land where you want. And with all of this small river fishing, with very few exceptions, there's hardly anywhere where I can get a conventional overhead cast. I've always got to sort of flick it sideways or trying to get it around a tree trunk. Anyway, fish away, so not for the life of me I'm fiddling at there, but never mind. And this next clip is quite interesting. I'm working my way along this wall. Just trying to get to the top of the run, and I didn't realise that a brick was missing. So my disappearing act is down a hole about 2.5 feet deep, surrounded in nettles, and it's quite difficult to get out of when you're like an upturned beetle with your legs in the air, and every direction you grab is another nettle. It's pretty hard to escape. And I'm just pleased I didn't land on a pile of bricks. Right, let's get to the point of the video here. Leader material. I haven't gone with fluorocarbon. I keep trying fluorocarbon, but it never seems to live up to the hype for me. You know, where it's supposed to just sort of sink and disappear in the water and not be seen by anything. Every time I try thin fluorocarbon, it seems to float just as well as standard nylon, and yet has the annoying feature that when it gets an odd wind knot or two in it, just snaps abruptly. I went on a holiday with my trout fishing holiday with my friend David in Iceland, and I kitted myself out with several spools of Grand Max, which, as you know, is quite an expensive fluorocarbon, and one of the spools of about £8 breaking strain was snapping like cotton, so it's rather put me off the stuff. Of course, my findings are only related to me. I'm not saying that all the nylon is rubbish, it's just I'm saying that I had a bad spool, and I'm just qualifying that before some manufacturer decides that I need suing. I also like, for this small stream work, I also like an ordinary double tapered line rather than the weighted forward. It's so hard to just get the fly to land just on the edge of that wall. I've just missed a fish, and now I get another small fish. One thing that I do think needs sorting out in the world of angling is the rod reviews. A couple of years ago I bought quite an expensive dry fly rod, 9 foot long, very highly rated by everybody, supposed to cast supremely accurately, and was very good at doing even little short casts. Yeah, I must admit it's the most hated piece of tackle I've got. The little bit of a squiggle I put there below the bridge is normally where the trout hang out on that piece of water. But look at the amazing amount of foam that's on the water. There's a kingfisher going to shoot by in a moment. Here it comes. I did my best to slow it down, but I mean, it was they are astonishing birds. On another day I was trying a variety of small nymphs with no luck. That's the nylon that I like to use. It's some German stuff on. Usually get it on little 50-metre spools. I found it really nice and thin for its breaking strain. And I haven't made the mistake of dyeing it in some bizarre colour like autumn lines get dyed in. And I've tried an awful lot of fly floatants, but I've never found anything better than gink, so I recommend that highly. Yeah, so getting back to the rod issue, I'll pause for a moment. I'm just coming to this bit. Yeah, this is when something worked out right for a change. I spotted a fish rising on the other side, just beside that bit of a bushy tree there. And the second cast I got it just right. The rest of that day was quite weird. I thought I missed a few decent fish. So what was happening as I was getting lovely big rises and thought the time was completely off. So what I decided to do was actually do absolutely nothing and make completely certain that the fly had gone. And I found that the fly was still sitting on the surface. So they'd come charging up, swirled and splashed at it, but without actually taking it. A few days later, I fished over the same fish and I was getting more positive results of actually pricking the fish or feeling something going on. Anyway, this is the area where I got that lovely 2-pound trout a few days earlier. And I spent some time in that area, and absolutely nothing there moving or rising. And this is back on the other day, and I had 2 lovely rises in here which resulted in nothing, so I suspect it was the same problem as I had last time. Well, what I say last time, I mean what I just explained of the fish not actually taking the fly. I've known that happen with rainbow trout quite often when on catch and release fishing, when the fish have been hooked and pricked a few times. They'll often come and investigate the fly, and then that's your lot. You think your timing's all adrift and it's never actually gone in the mouth. I was asked about flies, what patterns. I don't think the pattern is terribly important as long as the colour scheme is pretty close to the insects that have been taken, but I really do like flies based on hackle stacker or parachute style, where the body of the fly lies low to the water. I find it gets a lot more rises to that type of fly than the more, shall we say, old-fashioned fly where the hackle goes all the way around the hook and the fly stands off the water. And also, if you haven't got an awful lot of mess of hackle underneath the fly, there's less chance of it interfering with the bite of the hook. So hopefully a better hook hold. I mean, whenever you're trying to determine absolutes and things, the next day out you go will always prove you wrong, and you'll find that a great big fly standing well off the water will be the only thing they want. But as a general rule, I do like flies that lie low. What you can't see here is just round the corner, as there was a load of decent fish rising, but because I was having to present the fly to them casting downstream, I never managed to get a drift without some interference or drag, which of course is always a killer with fly fishing. Anyway, coming up I've got I think it's going to be a nice little video of me actually catching a few trout for a change on the river. And if you're stuck with me up to now, thanks very much. Bye for now. Thank you. Bye.